Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Becky Brown. I'm so glad that you are with us today. We are going to be taking your calls for 2 hours, so you can call us at 1-800-229-3000. We're so glad, and we've got some calls lined up. But you know what? It is a new month. Over the weekend, whether you knew it or not, it turned into October. And so this Monday morning, we are celebrating a new month, and you can hear Larry laughing. We're going to start the show off with some news from Larry. Larry, take it away.
Well, Becky, thank you. You know, the month of October, like you said, and we have a new gift for any gift that you give to New Life this month. It's going to be a copy of the 1-year Life Recovery Prayer Devotional. And I like that because 1-year devotionals are great for you to, get into the Word, get into some good thoughts as you wake in your day or end your day. But it's also a great gift if you want to think about Christmas for somebody. But the other big news that we wanted to share is we're going to also this month of October talk a lot about joining Club New Life, because we have a new gift for those who want to join. If you join Club New Life, we want to give you a copy of either the 1-year Bible for men or the 1-year Bible for women. Steve Arterburn he wrote the devotions every day for that Bible. Every day you'll get into the Word. You can read a selection for a year, each day for a year. And then Misty Arterburn did it for the women. And Misty is, I think, more of an expert for recovery than is Steve. She leads groups. She was in recovery when she met Steve. And she needs a lot more since she's known him.
But, she had to double down.
Yeah. But these Bibles are really exceptional. They're going to be special. I don't know, Becky, what you might want to add to that.
Well, I just think that, like what you said, that the discipline of being in the Word every day is such a powerful tool in our life. God changes us through His Word, and the way Misty and Steve have written these devotionals and these writings to go along with those daily scriptures can really make a huge impact in your life. And we're really excited about this launch and know that it will be a great way for you to celebrate your new year, or maybe you get this for a gift for Christmas or give it to somebody else for Christmas. But I think it's a great thing. One
other thing about joining Club New Life and being a regular monthly giver is you're the reason that we get to do what we do. And any testimony you hear from us on this radio program or anywhere else, you're a part of it. You're what made it happen. And there's other benefits for joining Club New Life. You can get a book or a resource every quarter. We give one or offer one if you want it to Club New Life members. You get discounts on workshop registrations. And we do a Club New Life CD every month. And you can take that via a download, or you can have a hard copy sent to you, either way. But those CDs are some of the only connections these Club New Lifers keep, because they don't have time, or we're not on radio when they can listen. So they get these CDs that have a lot of good stuff, phone calls, teachings. And anyway, I hear the music, and I know that's time for me to get out of the way.
Well, Larry, we're so grateful for our Club New Life family. And we're also grateful for Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris and Chris Williams, who are going to answer callers today. And we're going to get right off the bat with Lynn when we come back after the break. And if you have any questions, or if you need help with anything, you can call us, 1-800-229-3000. We will help in any way that we can. And we do it through these gifts from Club New Life, as well as our other donors. We're grateful to be of ministry to folks all across the country and beyond. We know that God's worth. Oh, go ahead.
Becky, one other thing. If you're joining Club New Life, you can be part of a quarterly Zoom call to talk with Steve and to hear from Steve. And that's real special.
it had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, he just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
Now the workshop is coming to Orange County, California, October 7th to the 9th. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Like I said, we are going to go right to the calls. We're going to talk with Lynn, who's calling us from Washington, D.C., listens on the great station WAVA, and we're glad you called. Lynn, how can we help you today?
Thank you, Becky. Hello, everybody.
You're welcome.
I'm so glad that Jacqui Mack-Harris and Chris are there too. My question is, through being in AA for 20 years, I learned that in the third step, prayer, it talks about bondage of self. And my self-centeredness seems to be connected to my family history. And my brokenness, my struggling seems to set me up for unfulfillment in my life, an inability to be in relationship with a nice Christian fella. And it just seems like that's the opposite of what God wants us little humans to be, Mm-hmm. It so blocks my happiness. And I think that God is not thrilled that I'm unhappy also. Mm-hmm. So that's what I wanted to put before you. Thank you.
Okay. So, Lynn, for clarification, your question is?
Well, it seems like the perfect setup, for folks to be born into families where there's dysfunction and we become, have dis-ease in life, and it even distances me from my relationship with a higher power, mm-hmm. who I know mm-hmm. loves me. Mm-hmm. And isn't that a perfect setup from the enemy of our souls, to be so separated, and yet we that have experienced brokenness, we deserve and we desperately need to feel closeness in relationships, and to be mm-hmm. living more confidently.
Yeah. So Lynn, early on, we learn about the world through the people that show us the world. Mm-hmm. And so you said it so well. I grew up in a place of people that showed me that the people of the world are not safe. Mm. They're not trustworthy. They're not for me. And so people and closeness to people became a very scary and hard and difficult thing. So I think what you're calling ego is on the other side of that. I think ego is the backside of the front side of fear. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to be hurt again. I'm afraid to be disappointed again. I'm afraid to be shamed again, whatever it may be. And those are all reasonable things to be afraid of. And again, you said it so well that we must then relearn through people better ways, more loving ways, more godly ways. And so we actually spent quite a bit of time a couple weekends ago talking about this third step. I think Steve did a great job of this. And there's one word in the third step I think is critically important. It's all important.
but that I turned my life and my will over to the care of God as I understood him. Now, let's consider that for a second. The people who cared for me early and often didn't do a good job. I, therefore, didn't learn a good job to care for myself. And it is a monumental task of faith to then say, I need care, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to let other people do it, but I need to turn it over to God and let him lead the way, and typically, ironically, through other people to show me how to truly be cared for. And that's where we're going to start experiencing transformations of love.
And I agree. I think it is just like the enemy to set us up in situations where we are dealing with trauma from, generations of hurt and bad choices, and those things become our family rituals and norms and traditions, and you feel very alone sometimes in that. That's what the enemy wants, right? It comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And how better to do that than to destroy the family, or to cause so much harm in the family that it makes for, as you said, dis-ease in the individuals' lives that are a part of that family. But when you can turn it all over to God as you understand him, then you start to really listen for God's guidance, God's direction. You said you were God wants you to be happy. He's not pleased that you're unhappy. And I don't know that seeking out your own pleasure or happiness within the realm of what is safe and healthy, I don't know that is necessarily something that is bad or good. It just is. You get to choose for yourself now, as you're getting healthier, how you want to live your life. And sometimes we're thinking on negative things. I'm thinking of the verse that says, think on these things, whatever is good, ... Sometimes the things we're thinking about are so dark or heavy because that's what we've come up out of. We continue to put our focus on the negative, and so we continue to be down and continue to be unhappy. And I'm not saying this to say we should not acknowledge the bad things, but if all of our energy and focus is going to that, then we will continue to be unhappy. So since you have made such good strides and great choices, maybe start to look out for when God is guiding you in ways that will bring joy to your life, and in ways that will bring healthy, safe relationships into your life. And trust yourself that you have this relationship with him and that you've submitted to him fully. And if your steps are ordered by God, your steps are ordered by God, and he's with you. And so you can walk in that. To me, that's walking in joy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Lynn, I wonder if that when you run into struggles in relationship, that you don't then revert back to this is what the enemy wants. He doesn't want us to connect. Like it kind of becomes a block for you to reach out a little bit further. If you're in the rooms, if you're practicing the recovery movement, I think it can help you in establishing good connections. But is that what is going on with you, Lynn? Are you having difficulty connecting, or?
Well, sure. I don't seek to connect enough. I don't want to take that chance, that risk.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm
right.
very shy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, and there's a difference between being shy and taking a risk. And I think that can also be part of the bigger picture too. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the reason why I asked where the challenge was, because if you are shy or maybe even introverted, people can be just a lot. I mean, they can be a lot whether you're shy or not, So, I mean, so you could be having that experience, but then the causation gets put into the devil just wants us to be, miserable, and we're never going to be happy. But I just think let's talk about connection a little bit, Chris and Jacqui.
I just think that one of the things that when we grow up in these hard environments, our unhealed pain turns into our internalized shame. which is a primary negative belief about ourselves. So if at a fundamental level, at my identity level, if I believe something bad or negative about myself, like I'm bad and defective, then I start my relational ledger in the black every time. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. In the red.
In the red.
In the red every time. I work with a pure deficiency mindset when it comes to, and most importantly, heart set when it comes to relationship. And when I learn to transform that a little, and it takes relationship to do this, as well as a relationship to ourselves and God, into grace. Because grace doesn't deny our weaknesses, our limitations, even our sins and our negative patterns. It just says that those things don't define who we are. Those things aren't our base. Our base is in our belovedness, the love of God. And when we cultivate that grace, we become less fearful of our defects. And ironically, we become more aware of them so that we can do something with them. And so we want to turn that ledger from the deficiency of the red of shame into the asset-driven, abundant-driven aspect of grace. Because, Lynn, to get to know you and to be a part of your life and to journey with you and hear God's story in your life, it is a pure form of grace for other people.
I hope. Go ahead, Jacqui. You got something you want to?
Yeah, I was just thinking, Chris mentioned relationship to others, but also to self and God. And you said you're really shy. Sometimes we're shy, highly sensitive, introverted, and we really don't need a lot of people. We don't, that it can be overstimulating. And so we might need to be alone to recharge. And I wonder if sometimes people feel that there's something wrong with them because of that. And so if that's your nature, I think God made you and made you uniquely wonderful. And I would, in relationship with self, just kind of explore, is this just who I am and how I'm made? There's no negative thoughts about others. There's no, you're not trying to hide or cut off from others. It's just, it can be exhausting. And it's okay to not want to be around a bunch of people all the time, but to have a few strong relationships, few safe, good relationships where you can authentically show up and they authentically show up, and you guys can maybe do life together alongside of each other, but that you don't feel an obligation to be with a bunch of people all the time. That doesn't make, I don't think that makes you egocentric. I don't think that makes you self-centered. I think that just means that you're a person who can be recharged by being alone, but who still needs and wants relationship.
That's right.
And you can find some balance in that.
That's right. Well, thank you for calling, Lynn. We'll send you a copy of How We Love. We're going to talk with Cynthia, who's calling us from Dallas, Texas, listens on KWRD. I hear a little bit of an echo, Cynthia, so if you're on a speakerphone, it might be good to go back to your regular listening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi.
Yes. How can we help you?
I have. My husband had often said to me that I act like I'm better than others, and that I'm opinionated, and that I think that I'm always right, acting superior, and that sort of thing. And I had to take a look at it, and I could see some signs of that in myself, and I'm wanting to know, what do I need to do to get rid of that, to not be like that and not come across that way?
That's a great question, and I am so impressed that you were actually able to hear him and take a look at that, because it's tough when your husband says, you think you're always right, and you think you're better than other people. You just will say anything. You're so opinionated. Can you tell I've heard those things before?
Yeah, I was wondering. Jacqui.
What's that like? So I'm feeling you right now, Cynthia. So my recommendation is How We Love. Learning more about who you are and how you got to be the way that you are, why you choose some of the things you choose to say, why you view the world in the way that you view the world, can help you start to make shifts and changes. for me, it was a matter of self-protection and emotional avoidance. And because I was an emotional avoider, which I say now I am in recovery, I'm an emotional avoider in recovery, but because of my avoidance, I didn't recognize how things I said impacted other people, because I wasn't connected to other people's emotions. I didn't have the ability to be empathetic because, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So I'm so closed off. Not only am I not feeling what others are feeling, they're not feeling me either. And so I learned that there are a lot of people in my life who I love dearly who didn't really feel that love from me, because they would say, she doesn't have emotions, she doesn't have feelings, because I kept that all so close to my chest, because that was the safest thing. I grew up where if you let them see you cry, if you let them see your emotions, they will take advantage of you. And I never wanted to appear weak. And what I've learned through How We Love and my work as a therapist is that my ability to be open and honest with my emotions in safe spaces and to recognize those safe spaces is actually a strength, because relationship provides, where it's unity. There is power and strength in numbers, and we were created for relationship. So I would say getting into therapy with a good Christian counselor who could help you explore where these defenses may have come from and help you learn some other ways to take care of yourself.
Well, and Cynthia, we are going to be in Dallas with our Intimacy and Marriage Workshop in just a couple of weeks, and you and your husband could join us there. It would be a great opportunity for you guys to have a bigger conversation about this. Chris, I know I jumped in there, and I would love to hear what you have to say to Cynthia, but I just wanted to make sure we got that in.
I think that's really important you got that in, because that's exactly right. And I think that when we find ourselves in these patterns, is like one of the things that we're looking for is safety and security. I put it like this: inside of all of us is this huge, gigantic magnet. And this magnet is constantly gravitating to what is safe.
And before you go further, Chris, we need to take a break. I know you can't hear the music, but we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this.
Going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Sorry, I was disrupting you, Chris. I know that you have some great wisdom.
No, that's good. That's good.
Let's get back to the point. And you were sharing with Cynthia.
Back to my pontification. So,
yes, I would love to hear it.
But no, there is this thing inside of us that is gravitating towards that which is safe and secure. Please hear me say this. That's not always healthy, okay? Because too many times we have mistaken familiar with safe, when familiar is actually really unsafe or really unhealthy for us. However, if I grew up in an environment where it meant to be right, to be correct, meant to be okay, then I need to hold on to that. Because if I grew up in an environment where if I was wrong or inaccurate, I'm not okay. So being wrong or inaccurate then provokes a much bigger threat to our okayness. And we're like, I'm going to avoid that, so I can't be wrong because wrong is too painful. Wrong may be divisive. Wrong may lead me into lonely and shameful places. And so I have to hold on to what's right. And then, but when we find relationships of genuine love, we're like, I could be wrong and be okay. this is actually really cool. I could find greater freedom in not having to be right all the time.
And I think there's going to be some some personal integration in order to be able to accept other people's perspective as well. And so one of the quick things you could do is just release people from the prison of your expectations.
Oh, that's good.
Let them go.
Yeah.
Your expectations are the things that make you judgmental about other people and their choices. And we're not living their lives. We're not in their body. We're not having their experiences. And so we are projecting our own beliefs about what is right and what is good and how things should be done onto other people and overlaying that over top of them, which kind of squashes who they are. And so it does come across as feeling like I'm better than others because I'm the one that gets to dictate what's good for others. And I'm the one that's going to set the standard for others. It's also a huge responsibility and a lot of work. And so, sis, I say take the cape off. You are not responsible for everybody else.
That's right. And I think that what you suggested for her, Jacqui, is great. We'll send you a copy of How We Love, Cynthia. And I would encourage you and your husband to join us at our Intimacy and Marriage workshop. We're going to be right down the street from you, and it can make a huge impact in your relationship. And we'd love to see you there. We're going to go to Damon, who's calling us from Alexandria, Virginia, listens on WAVA. Hi, Damon. Thanks for waiting. How can we help you today?
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. Yes, I'm calling because when I invited to family functions and just a little background, I'm a very quiet and reserved person, and they in order to relax, I take a drink and then I'm very relaxed. I mean, I get very active and do things and. They say, well, let's see Damon. Not Damon, but Dominique, which is my other name when I'm really acting crazy and doing the same things that I really shouldn't say. Then the next day I feel like I say to myself, you really acted stupid. And, why did you do this? And why did you say that? And things like that. And it's just a lot of times I just avoid going to functions and things like that because of that. And that's really my question,
All right.
Yeah, so Damon, Jacqui had just said something I think is really profound for you. And she said that to Cynthia that she must release others from the prison of her expectations. I think for you, you must release yourself from the prison of your own expectations. I think you expect yourself to be somebody, so to be acceptable, to belong, to be a part of, and we all want to be a part of because it's much better than being apart from. And so so it's like, oh, I have to be this different person, layered with expectations of shoulds. Damon, you should be this way, you should be that way, and by the way. Alcohol will remove your inhibition so you can be this different person, but then there's something on the back end of that violated your own values.
You're not necessarily a fan of that version of yourself, but that's the version that goes out and manages relationships and get-togethers, and so you let that part of you out when you need to be at a party or a family function because your anxiety for being there is so high that you don't feel like you can tolerate it. And then you behave in ways that you actually can't tolerate. What if you just showed up as Damien and left Dominique at home? Like that version of you're just going to fight with the next day, and you are enough just the way that you are. And then you may have less regret the next day. It might be tough. Maybe you can't stay as long because it's overwhelming. You're introverted. You don't like to be around a lot of people. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with you there. You just go, hang out for a little bit. They cut the cake, sing happy birthday. You go home. I know I hear the music. Becky, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Okay, I'm just thinking, Damon, we're going to send you a copy of Changes That Heal. And I think that if you can find that peace in your body, in yourself, in who you are, that you can enjoy real connection that you won't need to have something that's going to so-called make you something different, because you have a lot to offer people. And, I think that could be a step in the right direction. I'd also encourage you to be part of one of our life recovery groups. But with that, we'll be right back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of the 1-year Bible for men or the 1-year Bible for women. These Bibles combine the best-selling daily Bible reading format with 2-minute daily devotionals written to create a one-of-a-kind devotional Bible that you'll love. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We have entered the last stretch of 2022. I know that is scary for some of you, but I just want to encourage you that you could make a change in your life. You could join us at one of our workshops. We've got some coming up, whether it's Every Man's Battle, Restore, Intimacy and Marriage. There is something for you to have a better 2023. And so let's finish the year out in a good way. Right now, we are going to go to Sandra, who's calling us on KW, or she's calling us from Dallas, listens on KWRD. Hi, Sandra. Thanks for waiting. How can we help you today?
Hey, it's not so much how you can help me. I heard a program a couple of days ago that a lady was struggling with disappointing God because she really felt like she was trapped and she potentially needs to get a divorce. And y'all had encouraged her to file for a legal separation. Anyway, so I had found myself in that position a few years back, and, pleasing God was the top on my list, and I just really felt trapped in that because I knew everything that was going on was not good for me or for my kids, and so, but I kept staying because I didn't want to disappoint God. Well, then I went and talked with my pastor after a situation happened, and he said to me, do you know that in Proverbs it says that there's 6 things God hates, 7 things that he thinks are detestable? Mm-hmm. And we sat down and we read those together, and he goes, would you agree that those are the things that are causing the problems in your marriage? And I was like, well, yeah. And he goes, well, God hates those just as much or as more than what he hates divorce. And I was like, and it was like one of those epiphany moments where it was like,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
I love that, Sarah.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
And, and it just was a real game changer for me. I mean, I still long for that relationship that I couldn't have with my husband.
Yeah.
But I knew that I couldn't stay, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because he wouldn't. I mean, we did regeneration. We did, we did re-engage. We did couples counseling. We did Weekend to Remember. We tried everything, or I did, right? And I just couldn't pull him up that mountain. And there was addiction, there was pornography, there was infidelity, there was anger issues. There was just so much that he still struggles with, and it makes me really sad because I wouldn't want to have anybody. I wouldn't want to be in that body struggling with that, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly
well,
right.
I'm so glad, Sandra, that you called and shared that, because I think that's so true that, it can be overwhelming when you're in that situation. And the fact that he's still struggling with it is also proof that he wasn't doing the work. He is stuck. And, I'm thankful for your encouragement for the caller that was the other day. And, it's great to help each other in that way.
And Becky, I want to jump in with a fairly controversial thing. I think here we go. I think we need to stop pleasing God. Because,
say more about that, please.
Yes, because that puts us in an infantile place. We're trying to please for approval. God,
it's performative, like we do with people.
God is pleased with us.
I got it.
He is not pleased with our sinful or destructive behaviors. Let me make that crystal clear. But when I was a child, I reasoned as a child. I thought like a child. I processed like a child. A child tries to please people. But when I became an adult, I put childish ways behind us. I'm not trying to please God. I'm trying to partner with God in wisdom and in love.
And I'm walking in his pleasure.
Yes, exactly. Entering into his pleasure, receiving his pleasure. Like you said, I'm delighting myself in the Lord. And in that, it's this subtle shift I want us to try to make, to say that no. God doesn't have a fragile ego. He's strong. And again, he doesn't approve of all of our behaviors, but he loves us as his children and is pleased with us. And that gives us a different type of energy to access, to say, no, I'm partnering with God in entering into these really tough, nuanced, complex situations where I'm trying to navigate with faith and wisdom.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Thanks, Chris. We're going to go to Rachel, who's calling us from Denver, Colorado, and watches us on YouTube. I love our YouTube family. And if you watch there, please like and subscribe. But Rachel, enough about that. How can we help you today?
Hi, I'm calling because I have a adult son who struggles with addiction to meth, and he's not seeking recovery or anything of that benefit right now. But for about the past 6 months, I have been working on myself through codependency and just some of the life recovery workbooks and things like this to further me along and lessen that bond that I have of codependency. Okay, so he has 3 siblings and my other children, of course, and they're all adults. But I want to know how to navigate or help them. And I'm thinking of one daughter in particular who really suffers. I would say she probably has a lot of codependency traits, and like myself, and she just tends to feel things too much, but or too deeply, but or blame herself, or feel that there's just another avenue that she could have explored, etc. So I want to know what is best in speaking with them about that. Do I wait until they ask how he is doing if I've heard from him? Do I actively tell them when I've heard from him and update them? Thirdly, I think I don't want to lie and make it sound like less than what it appears to me.
Well, Rachel, you're asking some great questions. Chris and Jacqui, before you answer, will you define codependency, what Rachel's talking about, and then go into whatever your answer is, because I think that's helpful.
Yeah, my simplest definition of codependency is when we lose our own sense of self to somebody else. You know, so our emotions and our thoughts and our internals are determined by the behaviors, actions, or influences of another person. And so we can't, the fancy term is we can't regulate ourselves. We can't take control of what's on the inside of ourselves. So yeah.
Unless the other person is okay. So we work extra hard, double time, to make them be okay, because then we feel settled.
Yes.
And when they are in disarray, we're back to working double time so that they can be okay, so that then we can feel settled.
Yeah.
So we're dependent, we're codependent. They're dependent on us for money, for a place to stay, for continued support in whatever their addiction is. We're dependent on them to give us somebody to take care of, somebody to help regulate our internal process.
Yeah.
So, so Rachel, I am a big proponent of talking this out. In recovery, there's a term we say: we're only as sick as our secrets. And addiction addiction has a contagion that affects everybody, and that's why they call it a family disease. Okay, so we want your other children to be able to speak openly and freely about it, but how we do this is important. And one of the things that we want to protect is that your son struggling with this isn't piled on with more shame. And so this is where labeling becomes really important. He is a person suffering with a methamphetamine addiction. He's not a meth addict. Does it make sense? I mean, he is, but you get what I'm saying there. So we separate out the personhood from the addiction. So when the addiction shows up, what happens to us? What are we afraid of? What is our hurts? What is our fears? What is our angers? So we can begin to talk about this, but also to let them know, hey, as mom, I'm really trying to do my work around this. I'm really trying to figure it out myself so I don't lose myself to his addiction. But here's what's going on. Here's what's happening. And most importantly with the other three children, and how are you doing with this? This is your brother, you know? And that's not to say that the first time you do that they won't show up with sort of their defensive facades and be like, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it's hard, like those one-word answers. That's okay. Right. The more we talk about it, the more we practice, the more we'll open up.
Yeah, I agree, Chris, sharing that.
Well, hold that thought, Jacqui, because you can hear the music, and I want to hear your full thought. Okay. And I think, Rachel, you just helped a lot of people with asking the question, because there are a lot of people that are in the same situation. When we get back, Jacqui will talk further about that, and just maybe some steps forward for the family. Like Chris, you just said, this is a family disease. This isn't just the son that has the addiction. This is affecting everyone. And there is a way to go forward in truth, in honesty, and in support, so that we know we've got each other's back. We can hear each other's struggles. But we'll hear more about that when we get back, Rachel. And we're glad you called. We'll be right back.
My husband was involved with a pornography addiction.
He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. November 11th through the 13th. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals all in the biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I did want to mention, Larry talked about the one-year Bibles from Steve and Misty at the beginning of the hour. If you're Club New Life and you add an extra $10 a month, that can be a gift that you get as well. We are talking to Rachel, and she's got a family challenge going on. Jacqui, I interrupted you. I would love to know what you would have to say to Rachel and the family.
Well, Rachel, you were wondering if you should say anything, should you talk about it, and absolutely, everyone's dealing with it. It's the elephant in the room. Everyone feels it. And your daughter, who you said was maybe too sensitive, I would reframe that as highly sensitive. She feels very deeply. And so this is a burden that she is experiencing through taking more on as hers than it really is hers. And so in the family meeting, it might be helpful for your kids to hear how you are doing work to take care of you. You're working on what you can work on, what's yours, the codependency. You're not working and putting all your focus on trying to heal him or change him, because that's his work to do. But you do have other children who are in this, who are experiencing it, who are maybe suffering, who maybe have questions, who want to talk about it. And so often families suffer in silence, as though nobody knows what's going on, and everyone knows, even the children. The children in the family know something's off, and yet we tell them, oh, everything's fine. Uncle's just really sleepy. And right. And so then they're confused, because in their body that doesn't feel right. That doesn't add up. So I would be honest, and I would have a family meeting. Here's where we are right now. And as a family, decide how are we going to handle this as a family, in terms of, are we going to offer him support? What's that going to look like? How are we going to keep boundaries? But open it up to discussion.
Yeah, and I would encourage you to get with a family counselor to handle that. I know family sessions can be tricky, and so it's really good to have that outside party who can handle all of the feelings that are going to be in that room. We're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible, Rachel. We're going to go to Cheryl, our last caller of the day, but keep calling at 1-800-229-3000, because we're going to take calls for the next hour. Cheryl, we're glad you held on. You're calling from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and you're a new caller. We're glad you're here. How can we help you?
Yes. I am a facilitator for a 12-step program at our church. Great. We have gone through Celebrate Recovery. We've gone through 12 Steps with Jesus at different phases. We had stopped the program for a while because there was no participation, and I've had some people interested now, so we're going to start back again. I'm trying to figure out what is the best way, what is the best material. I run across a book that deals with addiction from the perspective of, this is a sin like any other sin, needs to be treated like any other sin, and then there's the 12-step program. And I'm wondering which one is, where do I need to go? What are the best, most effective materials?
Well, Cheryl, you called the right place, because we have a great program with our life recovery materials, and we'll get you connected with Terry Ward, but who's our life recovery groups administrator. We have groups across the country. We have a leaders kit, and of course, I'm very subjective, but I've seen a lot of different programs, and I know the power of the life recovery materials, and I think it would be a great next step for you. But what I do want you to hear from both Chris and Jacqui about that whole concept of addiction being a disease versus a sin, and how that all kind of relates to our own recovery and where that fits in. So Chris or Jackie, whoever wants to start, that would be great.
Okay, so I'm going to wade into the theological waters. And so here's the best way that I understand sin. Sin is a malfunction of God's creation. Cancer is a sin.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying someone did something bad or wrong, but it's a malfunction. It's not the way. Death is a sin. It's just outside of God's original design. And so we can see that we're all swimming in the atmosphere, or all breathing, at least in the atmosphere of sin. It's the curse that Jesus came to take care of, which is fantastic. So the fact that we would want to call it a sin, or we'd want to call it disease, to me personally, it doesn't make a difference. What makes a difference is that there is something that is profoundly malfunctioning on every level of our existence, and that's called addiction. And therefore, we need help. Now, to say that every sin has the same remedy, I don't even know what that means, because I do know this. It's not true. So, sin speaks to a specific thing in our life that is off. If I have the sin of lying and deceit and dishonesty, it means that connecting to the truth is off. And therefore, I need to start doing some work around that. And so what recovery helps us do is it helps us get back in alignment with God's design as we're leaving behind our maladaptive and sometimes incredibly destructive coping mechanisms. And I hope that framework, and just from one person who works a lot in this field, is helpful to understand this, because if we just say it's a sin and you need to stop sinning, it compiles and compounds the shame that creates more of the problem. And that's why I'm pretty passionate about this.
Yeah, obviously passionate. Jackie, yes. What would you like to offer?
So I think of the response to sin as Jesus, right? The answer to sin is Jesus. And so if we say that it's not addiction, it's sin, then the answer is you need Jesus, which is what I'm hearing in that statement. You don't need to go to therapy. You don't need a 12-step program. You just need Jesus. There are a lot of people who have Jesus, who know Jesus, who are struggling. And I feel like it discounts the work that they're doing, because it's not as simple as saying, oh, I'm a Christian, so therefore I can't have these problems. If you could live a life problem-free, sin-free, in perfection, Jesus wouldn't have had to go to the cross. So we know that doesn't even exist in the world. I want books that are going to lead me to success, lead me to help, that are going to lead me to comfort. And if they're directing me towards Jesus, awesome. And now that I have Jesus, how do I stop doing this hard thing? How do I change? Because just accepting Jesus Christ didn't create change in my life. I had to do work, and God created us for relationship, and it's in relationship that the healing happens. And I love that you are restarting that program. I think the Life Recovery Program materials is the answer to your question. What's the best materials to use?
Well, that's right. And Cheryl, we will send you a Life Recovery Bible, and we'll get you connected with Terry Ward, who can help you with the process of setting up a group. And, in all of the things that we do, whether it's Life Recovery or our workshops, we really want to see life change. That's what we're all about. We're all about that Romans 12:2, being transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's what God is doing in your life. And one of the things that we're celebrating is Lumina, our women's event that's going to be at the Museum of the Bible, November 3rd and November 4th. And we have a special going on that you can get a reduced price and bring some friends and just, experience that life-giving experience of being in the Word and being with other women and hearing some incredible teachers. And you can find out about that at newlife.com, or you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're so grateful for you, Chris and Jackie, and all your wisdom. We're grateful for you, listeners. If you are holding on, please continue. You can call us at 1-800-229-3000, and we'll take calls for the next hour. Thank you for all you do to help us do what we do, Club New Life and our donors. We'll see you next time on New Life Live.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.